Good morning, everyone. Today we will talk about managing communication. So, first, let us talk about communication and a manager's job. So, what are the manager's job? A manager's job includes desk work, attending scheduled meetings, placing and receiving phone calls, reading and answering correspondence, attending unscheduled meetings, and making tours. So all of that activities involve communication. Now, is communication important to the managers? Well, the answer is yes, because it is the only way you can interact with your people. You can make plans with your people. So a manager creates a plan that defines what needs to be done, when it will be done, and how it will be done. So, to implement the plan, of course, the manager must convey this information to everyone in the organization. So, a good communication not only informs but also helps to create a culture that makes people feel like they belong to and want to support the organization. So, there are benefits of a good communication. First, it provides clarity. Second, it builds a relationship. Third, it creates commitment. And last, it defines expectations. Now, what if there is no good communication or there is no communication? So, if there is no communication, employees cannot know what their co-workers are doing. So, the management cannot receive information inputs. And of course, the supervisors and the team leaders cannot give instructions. So that's why communication is very important to the managers. Not only to the managers, but also everyone that involved in the organization. Now, let us proceed to the characteristic of useful communication. So what is characteristic of useful communication? It refers to the series of actions or steps taken in order to successfully communicate. So to have a useful communication, it should be accurate, timely, complete, and relevant. The first one is accurate. What does accurate means? Accuracy means that the information must provide valid and reliable reflection of reality. So meaning that the information you have collected must be correct and reliable. It also should contain complete facts and figures. So why it needs to be accurate? Because true information play an effective role in decision making. The quality of information determines its usefulness. So if you give wrong information, it may also lead to wrong actions. So be careful in giving informations. The second one is timely. Timeliness does not necessarily mean the speediness. It means that the information needs to be available in time for appropriate managerial action. So meaning, the information should be available as and when required. It should be available at the right time and the right person. So why does the information needs to be timely? Because if the information is not available in time, so it is no use at all. So be alert and active in collecting information. So the third one is complete. Information must tell a complete story for it to be useful to a manager. So meaning, information should be complete in sense. It should contain all facts and figures as required by the user. Complete information enable managers to make better decisions. So what if the information is not complete? Incomplete information may lead to wrong decisions. So be resourceful in collecting informations. The last one is relevant. Information must be relevant for it is useful to a manager. Relevant information is defined according to the needs and circumstances of a particular manager, meaning the information should be relevant or suitable to a problem for which it is collected. It should contain complete detail regarding the particular issue. Relevant information is beneficial for manager for decision making. It helps to better understanding of issues and easy solving. Now the next one is the communication process. The communication process is made up of 6 components. Those components include the sender, the message, the channel or medium, the coding, the receiver, and the feedback. Now, what is a sender? The sender is the person that is delivering a message to a recipient. Number 2 is message. This refers to the information that the sender is relaying to the receiver. Number 3 is the channel or medium. This is a transmission or method of delivering the message. The number 4 is decoding. This is the interpretation of the messages. Decoding is performed by the receiver. Number 5 is the receiver. This is the person who is getting the message. And last, number 6 is the feedback. In some instances, the receiver might have feedback or response to the sender. So this starts the interaction.
Forms of communication and organization. Digital communication, an increasingly important form of organizational communication. It relies on digital communication technology. Information technology, or IT, consists of the resources used by an organization to manage information that needs to carry out its mission. It may consist of computers, computer networks, cell phones, smartphones, and others. This system has the ability to manage information in a way that is useful for manager. Both formal information systems and personal technology have reshaped how managers communicate with one another. Information systems, advanced in IT, have made it increasingly easy for managers to use many different kinds of information systems, like Transaction Processing Systems, or TPS, Management Information Systems, or MIS, Decision Support Systems, or DSS, and Executive Support System, ESS, and lastly, Artificial Intelligence, or AI. We have here Internet or Private Internet Network are only accessible to employees via entry through electronic firewalls. Firewalls are used to limit access to an intranet. Number 3. Extranets. It allows outsiders limited access to a firm's intranet. The most common application allow buyers to enter the seller's system to see which products are available for sale or delivery, thus providing product availability information quickly to outside buyers. Industrial suppliers are often linked into their customers' internet so that they can see planned production schedules and make supplies ready as needed for customers' upcoming operation. Number 4. We have the last number 4. So, personal digital technology. In recent years, the nature of organizational communication has changed dramatically, mainly because of breakthroughs in personal electronic communication technology. And the future promises even more change. It has become common, for instance, to have teleconference in which managers stay at their own location, such as offices in different cities, but are seen and monitored as they meet.
Good day, everyone. My topic is all about informal communication in organization. Informal communication, the casual and unofficial form of communication, comes from official channels of message flow, communication that is not defined by the organization's hierarchy. Informal communication is casual in that sense. We can say that it does not really follow a certain hierarchy or a certain flow of communication. We use this kind of communication in the daily basis when like to talking to a friend or people we walk and talk across. The information is exchanged spontaneously between two or more persons without conforming the prescribed official rules, processes, system, formalities, and chains of command. Based on the personal or informal relations, friends, peers, family, clubs members, etc. Free from organizational, conventional rules, and other formalities. So, as what I said, informal communication is managed without rules or whatnot. It is a normal kind of communication, and also it is based on the relation. For example, when we are talking to a family member, we use informal words or phrases because it does not imply power. It is also spontaneous in a sense that it is free flowing. Forms of informal communication: the grapevine, gossip chain, cluster chain, verbal communication. The grapevine, an informal communication network that can permeate an entire organization, found in all organizations except the smallest. Grapevine communication is indirect and informal. Basically, it means gleaning information from places other than official source. Humors, he said, she said, situations, gossips, and games of telephone are other terms used to describe grapevine communication. Types of grapevine: the gossip chains occurs when a person spread the message to many others. Gossip chains: it happens when one person spread the message to two or more people. For example, person in a workplace, a person A hears a rumor about person B. The person A spread or share the humor to person C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, considering the persons C to G are not so close with the person who spread the humors. That is gossip chain. While cluster chain, one person passes the information to few selected individuals. Cluster chain: one person spread the message to selected individuals. Those individuals may be close to the person who shared the message. And nonverbal communication: communication exchange that does not use words or used to carry more meaning than the strict definition of the words themselves. Relies on facial expressions, body movement, physical contact, and gesture. And lastly, this is the example of informal communication in organization. Thank you, everyone.
Good day, everyone. I am Mariel Arzaga, and I will going to discuss the topic of managing organizational communication. Managing organizational communication. Managing organizational communication is important to managers to understand how to manage the process of communication. And having effective communication is also important for managers para ma-perform nila ng maayos ang basic functions of management such as the planning, organizing, controlling, and leading. And also, communication helps the managers to perform their job and responsibilities very well. Kasi without communication, hindi nila mapapalago or mapamamalakad na maayos ang isang organisasyon without communicating with other employees or other peoples. We begin our discussion of communication management by considering the factors that might disrupt the effective communication and how to deal with it. Ano nga ba ang barriers to communication? Barriers to communication are the things that get in the way of the message being received. So, they could be physical, such as loud music playing. So, kapag nakikipag-usap ka sa isang tao na merong musika na malakas na pinapatugtog, syempre, walang mangyayaring maayos na komunikasyon kasi nga hindi nyo naririnig ang isa't isa. At saka, syempre, pwede ring ma-misunderstand ang sinasabi ng bawat isa. Emotional. If a person is emotional, walang maayos na komunikasyon na mangyayari kasi nga, hindi nakakapag-focus ang taong may nararamdaman dun sa nakikipag-usap sa kanya. Cultural, language differences, and social status represents also as barrier to effective communication. Cultural, syempre, sa cultural, may iba tayong kultura at saka iba-ibang practices na ginagawa. Diyan na lumalabas yung barrier kapag nakikipag-usap ka sa isang tao. Syempre, hahanapin mo talaga or kakausapin mo yung taong merong practices at saka kultura na kaparehas sa'yo at saka yun yung i-communicate mo. Language differences. Kapag mag-iba-iba yung lingwahe na ginagamit sa kikipag-usap sa isang tao, syempre, hindi naman lahat ng tao nakakaintindi sa lingwahe ng isa, di ba? Kaya dyan nangyayari ang barrier. Kaya nga, nangangailangan na meron tayong isang wika, lalo na sa isang organisasyon, may isa dapat na wika na gagamitin kung saan lahat ng tao, empleyado man o superiors, ang nakakaalam nito. Social status. If a person has a position, syempre, yung walang posisyon na tao, mahihiyang makipag-usap, makipagbigay ng opinion or ideya niya dun sa taong may posisyon kasi nga, mafe-feel niya na baka hindi tanggapin yung ideya niya kasi may posisyon yung taong yun. Barriers to communication can be divided into two classes. These are the individual barriers and the organizational barriers. Individual barriers are the personal factors of both the sender and the receiver may act as barriers to an effective communication, while the organizational barrier, or also known as communication barrier, it generates from the organization. This type of barrier refers to hindrances in the flow of information among the employees that might result as the commercial failures in an organization. So, there are some examples of barriers in an effective communication. Like in individual barriers, there are inconsistent signals, poor listening skills, and credibility in the subject. So, in organizational barriers, some examples of these are the noise, language differences, social status, different perceptions, overload, and many more. Kaya't nangangailangan talaga na mayroong maayos na ugnayan sa pagitan ng sender at ng receiver to conquer the barriers in the communication.
Hello guys, Abdulmohaymin nga po pala, and today's report is all about improving communication effectiveness. Considering how many factors can disrupt communication, it is fortunate that managers can resort to several techniques for improving communication effectiveness. These techniques include both individual and organizational skills. So, sa topic na ito ay tatalakayin natin ang dalawang skills na tinatawag na individual and organizational skills. So first, natatalakayin natin ay tungkol sa individual skills. Na ang ibig sabihin, the single most important individual skills for improving communication effectiveness is being a good listener. So sinabi doon sa individual skills na dapat isa kang magaling na listener. So halimbawa ako at kayo na nanonood sa akin na dapat nakikinig kayo ng maayos para sa ganon lahat ng sasabihin ko ay lubos nyong maunawaan. So doon sa good listener na tao dapat required sa kanya ay be prepared to listen. Dapat handa kang makinig, not interrupt the speaker. So dapat hindi ka nag-i-interrupt abang nagsasalita, abang may nagsasalita. So yun. Concentrate on both the words and the meaning being conveyed. So yun, dapat maunawaan mo ang ibig ipakahulugan ng nagsasalita. And be patient and ask questions as appropriate. So yun ang individual skills. At dagdag pa, avoiding checking emails or text. So dapat walang nakakadistract tayo habang may nagsasalita. Iwasan mo mag-cellphone para maiwasan natin ang makadistract sa atin, para marinig natin ang buong detalye at maunawaan ng mabuti ang sinasabi na nagsasalita. In addition to being a good listener, several other individual skills can promote effective communication. Feedback, one of the most important, is facilitated by two-way communication. So, doon sa individual skills ay nabilong din ang tinatawag natin na two-way communication. Two-way communication. So, ang ibig sabihin, allows the receiver to ask questions, request clarification, and express opinions that lead the sender know whether he or she has been understood. So, yun yung two-way communication. Yung ba mag-ask ka ng question para mag-clarify mo kung ano ang dapat mong pang malaman doon sa nagsasalita. Para magkaalaman kung ang nagsasalita o ang tagapakinig ay nagkaunawaan ba ng mabuti. In general, the more complicated the message, the more useful is two-way communication. So gaya na sinabi ko, magandang gamitin ang two-way communication sa kaso ng hindi pagkakaintindihan. Meron doon hindi pagkakaintindihan. So kapag nagtanong ka, ang tawag doon ay two-way communication. In addition, the sender should be aware of the meanings that different receivers might attach to various words. So yun, lahat po ang individual skills. So next, ang pangalawang skills, ang organizational skills. Three useful organizational skills can also enhance communication effectiveness for both the sender and the receiver. So dito naman sa organizational skills ay both ang sender o ang speaker o at ang receiver ay belong dito sa organizational. Dapat sila ay magkaunawaan. So hindi lang ang speaker ang dapat pagtuunan ng pansin, kung hindi, pati na rin ang receiver, yung tagapakinig. Kasi ang organization sa pagkakalam ko, yung pagpupulong ng maramihan. Kung ikaw ba'y nakakasabay sa kanilang sinasabi o hindi. So, following up, regulating information flow, and understanding the richness of different media. Following up simply involves checking at a later time to be sure that the message has been received and understood. So, dito sa organizational skills, meron din nakapaloob na sinasabing regulating information flow. Means that the sender or receiver takes steps to ensure that overload does not occur. For the sender, this could mean not passing too much information through the system at one time. For the receiver, it might mean calling attention to the fact that he is being asked to do too many things at once. Many managers limit the influx of information by periodically weeding out the list of journals and routine reports that receive, or they train the assistant to screen phone calls and visitors. Yun ang kagaya ng sinabi ko. So, ang receiver at ang sender ay dapat parehas nilang inaayos yung flow ng information. Hindi lang isa, dapat sila magtulungan doon sa tinatawag na organizational skills. Indeed, some executives now get so much email that they have it routed to an assistant. That person reviews the emails discards those that are not useful, such as spam, respond to those that are routine, and passes on to the executive only those that require his or her personal attention. So yon. So doon sa mga information na hindi na masyado ginagamit ay gina-delete na nila. Hindi na nila pinapakinabangan. Para yung information ay may saayos, ma-fix talaga yung dapat kailangan na information. At yun nga, gaya ng sinabi ko, kung mayroon kayo mga information na hindi na kailangan, ay dapat nang tanggalin o i-delete. Para doon, sa bago niyong information na nakuha, ay ma-file nyo doon, ma-fix nyo doon, maayos nyo, may lagay doon sa files nyo. So, next tayo sa overcoming barriers to communication. So, ito, malaman natin dito kung paano natin ma-overcome o malampasan ang mga iba't ibang hadlang sa komunikasyon. So, doon tayo sa first, ang individual skills. First, I develop good listening skills. So, doon nga, sabi doon, kanina, dapat na-develop mo yung mabuting pakikinig sa mga nagsasalita. So, good listener, sabi nila. Mayroon kang kakayahan na ganon. Next, encourage two-way communication. So, yung nag-a-ask ka ng question o clarification doon sa nagsasalita. Dapat ma-develop din yan. Encourage sa sarili mo. Be aware of language and meaning. So, yun. Talagang pakinggan mo mabuti. Kung ikaw ay sa individual skills, dapat makinig ng mabuti. Makinig ka mabuti sa mga sinasabi at anong ibig sabihin at anong nais pagkulugan ng speaker sa kanyang sinasabi. So, maintain credibility. Be sensitive to the receiver's perspective. Be sensitive to the sender's perspective. So, ganun din. So, yun ay sa individual skills. For organizational skills, ay ito, may tatlo dito. Follow up, yun nga, follow up. Regulate information flows, so ayusin, sabi doon. Understand the richness of media. So yun ang organizational skills. Next, for more effective listening, kung paano tayo mas effective makinig. So dito, stay active and focus. Tama nga naman, dapat kung tayo nakikinig, dapat stay active and focus tayo. Kasi kung parang nagtutulugan tayo o inaantog ka dyan, talagang wala kang maintindihan sa sinasabi ng ibang tao. So pay attention. So talagang magkinig na mabuti doon sa nagsasalita. Huwag tayo mag-interrupt para hindi natin masira yung flow ng communication. Ask questions. So yun nga, mag-ask ka ng question kung tapos na yung nagsasalita. Doon ka lang mag-ask ka ng question o clarification kung matatapos na yung nagsasalita. Keep an open mind. So yun, importante ito. Open-minded ka sa lahat ng bagay. Assimilates information. Yun ang for more effective listening. Kung paano natin mapalawag pa ang ating kung paano natin mas effective tayo makinig. Dito naman ay for less effective listening. So yung tamad kang makinig, di ba? Wala kang ganang makinig dito. Is passive, laid back, and easily distracted. So dito, is easily distracted means yung madali kang ma-distract sa isang bagay. So yun, doon pa lang, mahina ka na. Hindi ka na masyado good listener, sinasabi. Ask no questions. So, hindi ka palaging nagtatanong ng question o clarification. So, yun. Kalagay yun sa less effective listening. Has preconceptions. Disregard information. So, hindi mo tinatanggap ang mga information, parang binabaliwala